I remember the night my soul broke in half. I was sitting alone in my room with the window shut, the lights off, and my heart drowning in a silence that felt heavier than death itself. My hands shook as I held a small clay pot filled with river water, the same pot I had used for years in rituals to the goddess I thought protected me. But that night, as I whispered her name, I felt nothing. No presence, no power, no comfort, only emptiness. For years, I had offered sacrifices to her. I thought she was my healer, my guide, my unseen mother. But in that moment, when my body felt weak and my chest burned with pain, she was gone. And worse, I realized she had never been real in the way I imagined. The silence of that night was so loud, it was suffocating. My mind screamed, "Where is God? Where is anyone? Am I already abandoned?" I did not know it then, but what I was about to see and experience would change the course of my life forever. What I saw in hell still haunts me to this day. Before I continue with my story, I want to pause for a moment and appreciate every single one of you watching. If you are already subscribed, thank you from the bottom of my heart for fueling this channel with your support. And if you are new here or still watching without subscribing, I want to say a big thank you for being here today. I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button because it truly serves as the fuel and energy that keeps this channel alive. Do not forget to engage in the comments as well. I love hearing your thoughts and experiences. Now, let me take you deeper into my story. My name is Hazel. I am in my 50s now, but the journey I am about to share with you began decades ago in Arkansas, back in the summer of 1989. I was 24 years old, restless, and broken in ways I did not even understand at the time. I grew up in a Christian home, but it was not a home filled with warmth. My father was strict, almost harsh, and my mother was distant. I learned Bible verses, but I never truly felt the love of God. Instead, I felt like faith was just another rule to follow, another weight to carry. By the time I was a teenager, bitterness had already started carving its way into my heart. When I was 19, a man I trusted betrayed me in a way I don't even want to describe in detail. That wound made me angry at God. I told myself, if God truly cared, he would have stopped it. If he loved me, he would not have let me suffer. That was the moment my heart began to harden. It was around that time I started spending more time near the Arkansas River. I felt strangely drawn to the water. People in my community whispered stories about a river goddess, a spirit that could bless, heal, and protect those who honored her. At first, I laughed at the idea, but curiosity slowly grew. One night, an older woman I met at the river told me, "The church may not give you answers, but the river will never betray you. She always answers." That sentence lodged itself in my mind. Soon, I found myself sneaking to the river at night, bringing candles, food, and even drops of my own blood as an offering. I thought I was stepping into a sacred secret. The truth was that I was walking straight into chains. At first, life seemed better. I had strange dreams that felt powerful. I would hear whispers that guided me. I thought it was protection, maybe even love. But in reality, it was deception. I became proud, convinced that I had access to mysteries no church could give me. Yet deep inside, I was afraid of death, afraid of judgment, afraid of the silence that greeted me when I laid in bed at night. For years, I had lived with this hidden double life, smiling at neighbors, even going to church on Sundays, but at night, kneeling by the river and whispering prayers to a goddess that demanded more and more from me. I did not know it then, but what I was about to see and experience would change the course of my life forever. What I saw in hell still haunts me to this day.
It happened on a humid night in July of 2001. I was 36 years old. I had gone down to the Arkansas River again, carrying offerings in a basket, candles, fruit, and a small flask of wine. My heart was heavy that night. My body had been weak for weeks, and my chest often felt like it was caving in. But instead of going to a doctor or even crying out to God, I returned to the only place I thought I had control, the river. I lit the candles along the bank. The moonlight shimmered across the black water, and a breeze moved through the trees, making them groan like voices. I whispered the chants I had been taught, pressing my hands against the damp earth. At first, I felt the usual stillness, but then something shifted. The air grew heavy, the breeze stopped, and a darkness thicker than night itself fell around me. I tried to stand, but my legs gave way. My chest tightened and pain shot through my body. I fell onto the ground, gasping for air. My vision blurred, and before I could even cry for help, everything went silent. When I opened my eyes, I was no longer by the river. I was standing in a place where no human heart should ever be. The first thing I noticed was the heat. It was not the kind of heat you feel on a summer day. It was suffocating, clinging to my skin like fire crawling under my flesh. Then came the smell, sulfur mixed with rotting flesh. It filled my lungs and made me gag. And then the screams. They came from every direction. Men, women, even children. Endless cries of agony. The kind of sound that pierces into your bones and makes you want to cover your ears. But there was no escape. I looked around and saw pits filled with fire. Shadows moved within them, writhing and twisting. Demons, grotesque and twisted, dragged souls deeper into torment. Their eyes glowed red, and their laughter was like broken glass scraping across stone. I wanted to run, but my legs felt frozen. My heart pounded as I realized this is hell. This is real. And then I saw her, the river goddess I had worshipped for years. But she did not appear as the graceful figure I had imagined. Her face twisted into a hideous mask, her skin scaled like a serpent, and her eyes burning with hatred. She towered over me, laughing. "You foolish woman, you gave me your life, and now you are mine." Fear gripped me so tightly I could not even scream. I fell to my knees, shaking as she stretched out her hand. Behind her, the pits opened wider, and I saw souls being dragged by chains, their flesh burning but never consumed. I felt something tugging at my spirit, pulling me toward the fire. My mind screamed in terror. This cannot be happening. I thought I was safe. I thought she protected me. But then I heard something. It was faint at first, like an echo behind the screams. A voice, calm, steady, but filled with authority. Hazel. My head turned, searching. The demons recoiled as if they recognized the sound. The river goddess snarled and tightened my grip on me, pulling me closer to the pit. I cried out, tears burning my eyes. "God, if you are real, please help me. I do not want to stay here." That is when the ground beneath me began to shake. The screams grew louder, the darkness seemed to tear apart, and for the first time, a light pierced through. It was small, like a crack in the wall of night, but it grew brighter, stronger, and hotter than any fire around me. The river goddess shrieked and released me, stumbling back. The demons covered their faces. And then I heard the voice again, clearer this time. "You do not belong here." My body trembled, my spirit shaking under the weight of those words. I felt the pull toward the pit weaken, but I also felt another pull, stronger, lifting me away from the fire. I was terrified, shaking, caught between light and darkness. I knew something was about to happen, but I did not know what. That is when I realized I was not alone anymore.
The light grew brighter, cutting through the choking darkness. I covered my face with my hands, but it was not the painful kind of light. It was pure, gentle, and yet powerful enough to silence every scream around me. The ground beneath me steadied. The chains that had begun wrapping around my feet disappeared as if they had never existed. I heard the voice again, but this time it was filled with tenderness. Hazel, your time has not yet come. Go back and warn them. Tell them I am real. Tell them hell is real. My body trembled, and I wept. The tears that fell were not just from fear, but from a deep recognition that I had spent years giving myself to lies. All those rituals, all those sacrifices, they had only led me here, to the edge of eternal torment. I tried to speak, but my throat was dry. My mind screamed, "Why me, Lord? Why show me mercy after all the evil I have done?" And then came the answer, not in words, but in a wave that washed over me like warm water. Love, unexplainable, undeserved love, a mercy I could not earn. The light pulled me backward, away from the pits of fire, away from the shrieking demons, away from the face of the river goddess who now screamed in rage as I slipped from her grasp. Then, just as suddenly as it began, I woke up. I was back on the riverbank, my body drenched in sweat, my chest heaving as if I had run for miles. The candles were burnt down to stubs, the basket spilled beside me, but I was alive. I lay there for what felt like hours, sobbing. That night, under the stars of Arkansas, I lifted my hands for the first time not to the river, but to the God I had ignored for decades. Lord Jesus, forgive me. Please forgive me. I do not want anything but you. That was the night my life changed forever. The days that followed were not easy. I had to let go of everything tied to the goddess. I destroyed the clay pots, the charms, the tokens I had kept hidden in my home. I broke ties with the woman who first led me into the rituals. My family thought I had lost my mind at first, but as weeks turned into months, they saw the change. The anger I carried for years began to melt away. The bitterness that poisoned my heart gave way to peace I had never known. I stopped hiding behind church pews. Instead, I began truly reading the Bible, praying, and asking God to renew me. Slowly, I found myself speaking out, first to close friends, then to neighbors, and eventually to anyone willing to listen. I shared the truth, that hell is real, not a story to scare children. It is real, and I saw it with my own eyes. I also learned something about sin. It does not always look evil at first. Sometimes it looks like comfort. Sometimes it looks like answers when you are desperate. But behind every counterfeit promise, there is bondage. Behind every lie, there is destruction. And behind every idol, there is a demon waiting to claim your soul. If you are watching this, I need you to hear me clearly. Hell is real. Demons are real. Idolatry, unforgiveness, bitterness, they all lead there. But just as real as hell is, the mercy of Jesus Christ is even more real. I often say this: hell is eternal, but so is God's mercy. The difference is the mercy is only found while we still breathe. I want to leave you with two truths that burn in my heart. One, hell is not for later. Hell is for everyone who rejects God now. Two, mercy is not for tomorrow. Mercy is for today, in this very moment. Friend, if you are living in sin, playing with darkness, or even simply ignoring God, I beg you, turn to Him now. Do not wait until tomorrow. You may not have tomorrow. My story is not meant to entertain you. It is meant to shake you. I saw with my own eyes what eternity without God looks like, and I would not wish it on my worst enemy. Now I want to ask you, what are you holding on to that could cost you your eternity? If you were to stand before God tonight, are you certain where your soul would go? I would love to hear your thoughts and reactions in the comments. Please share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Your support helps this message reach people who might be one step away from making the most important decision of their lives. Because if my testimony saves even one soul from the fire I saw, then every tear, every scar, and every word was worth it.